3 times to the Pro Bowl, first team All-Pro, led the league in sacks in a single season as well. There's a reason they gave you the nickname Lights Out. It's because for a while there, you made that linebacker spot your own. And you look at the Super Bowl matchup this weekend, and you've got 4 of the very best in the league, 2 on the San Francisco 49ers with Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, and then you look at Nick Bolton and Willie Gay for the Kansas City Chiefs. When you look at those positions for those teams, what do you see?
I think, look, we know it's a quarterback-driven league, right? We know that.
So we're told all the time.
We know the NFL want to see points, and because it brings more fans and more eyeballs when they score points. But in my opinion, a team like the Kansas City Chiefs are here because of the defense, and that's not taking anything away from the greatness of Patrick Mahomes in the quarterback position. But some of the guys you mentioned, Fred Warner, Greenlaw, a former Charger, and Tranquil, who Drew Tranquil, who's kind of picked up and played extremely well. Chris Jones, that we're just not talking about. And so, in my opinion, I mean, this is going to be a much more of a defensive battle that people are expecting to happen.
Well, when you mentioned Chris Jones there, I find it remarkable that whenever people talk about the Defensive Player of the Year, no matter what Chris Jones does, he never seems to be in that shortlist, in that frame.
He don't throw the ball, right? Seriously, I think that the NFL is such a quarterback-driven league now that they forget the fact that defense wins championships. That play that the Kansas City Chiefs made against Flowers, against the Ravens, diving into the end zone, they don't knock that ball out and he fumbles. They score. The Ravens could be here on Sunday. And so Chris Jones is just a big man of a teammate to have with those guys up front, but he can control a lot of things up there. Last year, Chris Jones ended that game for them to ice the game.
Yes, he did.
He came and had that big sack, and that ended the game for him. So, he comes up in big plays, and he's not talked about enough because we want to keep driving the quarterback position.
When you look at these 2 defensive units, which do you feel has the more responsibility going into this game? Because obviously Patrick Mahomes is a 2-time NFL MVP, 2-time Super Bowl MVP, but by his own admission, this hasn't been the same Chiefs offense this year. And then on the other side, you've got a young quarterback in Brock Purdy who never quite seems to get the respect in the national media that the results on the field certainly would warrant.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's a bad narrative for Brock Purdy. To be honest. And I don't think we've ever seen anybody as scrutinized this playing on Super Bowl Sunday. Normally when a guy get there, you get praised, right? You get praised for getting your teammates involved, right? Throwing the ball to 4 or 5 different targets, finding different ways to win. In the other flip, he's penalized.
Yeah.
For getting everybody involved. Kyle Shanahan, the head coach, is penalized for putting together a great offense. John Lynch, the general manager, is penalized for putting together a great team, and we haven't seen anything like this. And I never want to take anything away from Patrick Mahomes, because last year what he did on that bum foot, he was running around, he was hobbling around, no number 1 wide receiver, no number 1 running back. He didn't have a lot of talent. He went out there and iced that game and won that game for him. The 49ers are the more talented team. They're the more talented team. But again, so was the Baltimore Ravens, so were the Buffalo Bills, and the Chiefs beat them both. So.
Well, I was going to say, you've played this game, you've played it at the highest level, and when you look at this matchup, what's the key matchup within the match, if you like, for you? Because you say it, the 49ers, man for man, would appear to have the more talented roster, but Patrick Mahomes is that X factor.
It's going to come down who makes the least amount of mistakes. Because we just talked about, there was no doubt the Ravens were a much better team. They had penalties, personal fouls, taunting. It was just back to back to back. And what did Kansas City do? They capitalized off of those mistakes. So the San Francisco 49ers cannot, for one, get down like they were against the Lions, because you're not coming back against KC. They can't make those mistakes, right? Taunting penalties, face mask penalties, giving them 30 yards and penalties on one drive, because you know what Patrick Mahomes is going to do with it. Kansas City, they're not going to make those mistakes. Yeah. They've been here too many times. I've been in the same situations as a player where we were much better than the Patriots, a couple years, and they put us out the playoffs because every time we fumbled or we had a penalty, Tom Brady marched it down and went out and scored. And so it's having the same type of feel right now, the same type of vibes, that KC will come out on top in this game because they're going to have less errors.
Yeah, we say that and talk about Patrick Mahomes, but I guess when you look at Nick Bolton and Willie Gay for the Chiefs, You've got Deebo Samuel, who's a receiving threat, but equally capable of running the ball on the ground. And then you've got Christian McCaffrey, who just loves the physicality of the game. And really, the offense, it fires through him.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, as a defensive player, okay, if Christian McCaffrey, you stop the running game, guess what he can do? He can catch a ball out the backfield, right? He can go one-on-one in a slot wide receiver position on the linebacker, making a mismatch. And so he's just a whole different animal in his own right. But even if you stop him, then you got to worry about Deebo. Then you got to worry about Kittle. You know, they're getting guys involved, and that's what makes them so difficult to game plan against. But in return, it's the same thing. You got to stop Travis Kelce.
Yes, you do.
He's going to being lined up one-on-one on a linebacker. A mismatch is going to happen. He's going to get his catches, but you can't let him go 10 for 10 or 10 for 11 like he did in the last game. That's what you can't let happen.
I know, like the rest of us, you're going to be intrigued in watching this matchup on Sunday afternoon. But away from football, you're a busy man again now. I've just been handed a leaflet that says you're getting back involved in MMA. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, Lights Out Extreme Fighting is my MMA organization. We've been around a couple years now. We got a big fight next Friday in Long Beach, California, and it'll be live on Football TV, Football Sports. And we're going to make some announcements here soon because we have an opportunity to be seen all over the world, right? So football is huge in the States, in Canada, some parts of France and whatnot, some parts of Spain.
It's grown in the UK as well now.
Yeah, and so we're going to announce to get a massive distribution in the UK here in the next 30 days or so. So I can't wait for that. But it's about getting more eyeballs. I mean, obviously football will always be king here in the States. But fighting is king globally, and that's the fun part about it.
It strikes me from the way you're talking about it. It's something that gets the passion going inside you again.
Yeah, I've been around this the combat sports for 17 years. I actually just started training myself because I wanted to be a better player. Using my hands as an outside linebacker, and I fell in love with the sport. And so I started training with some of the biggest names in the business, and getting the opportunity to be around it. And two, retiring and going straight to TV, it helped out a lot too because I understood how production works and how TV works. So the combination of loving the sport of MMA and in combat sports and knowing the TV business, it was a great merger for me.
Well, we're excited about it. We certainly look forward to those announcements in the coming weeks and months. Can't let you go without asking you for the way you see this match going on Sunday. Are the Chiefs going to create history and go back-to-back, or the 49ers going to end that 29-year drought?
I got the Chiefs going back-to-back. I just don't go against anybody that's already been here many times before because the margin of error for them, they understand the scope and the scale of this game.
Experience matters.
Experience matters, and I worry a little bit that the experience for Brock Purdy and some of these guys, Kittle, they've had guys to get to this level before, but not at this capacity playing the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's why I'm gonna go with the Chiefs.
All right, Shawne, thanks for your time. It's been great catching up with you. Best of luck in the new venture as well, and we'll keep a keen eye for his success.
Thanks for having me.